Greetings, and welcome back to another episode of 1320 Time Stream. We're going to be covering here the Wavespell activation for this Wavespell that we're starting here today, which is the Blue Night Wavespell. Let's see here, the Blue Night Wavespell, the dreamer, the abundant one, the intuitive one. This Wavespell is going to be interesting because this Wavespell is really all about diving into your darkness, diving into your shadow. And how are we doing that? Well, in many ways. It may not be as direct as that, like, hey, I'm going to dive into shadow, just like diving into the ocean. This kind of happens, kind of when you want to, or whether you want to or not. And a lot of the ways, this is simply because of the aspect of abundance in dreams. And before abundance, we kind of really have to pull up dreams. Now, as an analogy, I'm going to share it kind of like this. When you're dreaming, I'm going to say daydreaming. When you're like just allowing something to happen, you're kind of creating a vision in your mind or imagining, oh wow, what if this could happen? It's super beautiful and amazing. And maybe living out a little bit of your life, or maybe it's realistic, maybe it's fantasy. It doesn't really matter. What does matter, however, is the parts of you that get involved in the dream. Those are the important parts. Why? Well, this brings us to the idea of abundance. Now, abundance is inherently saying that the plenitude, or even the potential, in the fourth dimension, you could say that abundance directly represents potential. And the ability for that potential to be directly tapped into. And so someone could say, hey, well, potential doesn't really represent abundance because potential is kind of random. It's a potential. It's like randomness is kind of a bit of a third dimensional terminology that represents living in an unintelligent universe, living in an unintelligent plane of existence. And participating in systems of this nature, we begin, and if not begin, sustain the relativity that we're working with inside and inside us with a highly intelligent, highly sacred, geometrically organized, sentient being, a sentient consciousness. So where I go with this is potential always manifests if you activate it. The only thing that gets in the way of that is how you have separated yourself from the actuation of that potential. So there is absolutely no way a potential cannot occur. Potential only actually represents the avenues or time vector potentials, if you will, that haven't had a stream of energy or intent activate them. So the real question is, how do we free ourselves from our binding thought forms and separation agreements? And so this is how the dream allows us to go deeper into the plausible phenomenalization of reality. Wow, what if this could happen? Or even in our sleeping dreams, there is a myriad of, wondrous to insane to horrific things that come up. And when we go to that abundance level, that potential, and that we see in a dream where, let's say we're, having a great time with our parents and we're having a potluck or whatever, but, maybe your parents on the other side of the world and you can't even get in touch with them, or they have no money to get out. And so in the dream, everything's just fine. But in real life, there's this phenomenal blockage to that dream coming to pass. And so the dream itself will show us what the abundance is. And then the shadow aspect then gets uncovered as we tag back into the now and realize what of that dream isn't present. And so the very act of dreaming, the very act of realizing the natural potentials and abundance in their actualized states shows us where the shadow is, where the blockage is, where the fear is, where the separation agreement is, right? And so this is what brings us to that attunement level, because not attunement, the intuition in the night is very interesting. It's like the senses you have beyond your knowledge, the senses you have with you're blindfolded and like your hands tied behind your back. You're allowing a completely other articulation and articulus to take over and guide you. And it's not based upon what has happened before. It's not based upon what you know or how you can project that knowledge based on the personal relativity factored by your personal history or the cultural history. This is what makes it such a cutting edge sense to develop. Because the shadow, the fear, the separation, that's the degree that is in that realm. As we find that dream, we find that abundance, we are invited to simultaneously go into that shadow and that intuition. Because if we don't know how to do something, we have to rely on the intuitive senses in order to guide and navigate us, because we simply don't know how. We just have to feel into things. And that is when we directly uncover the shadow. See, with the dream and the dream and abundance part, we can really take a good look at what these shadows are, because they come up for us. And that intuitive aspect is an allowance to go into that unknown place where it is required for us to have trust. And trust and fear cannot simultaneously exist, because trust is the absence of fear, and fear is the absence of trust. And so altogether, these energies really invite us into the deeper well, into the deeper ocean of our subconscious, the deeper energy inside of our unawareness. And they invite us in creative ways to show up and develop those capacities and develop those skill sets. Now, this is, a very singular way of seeing things, because there are so many ways we can interpret dreams. There's so many ways we can interpret abundance. And intuition, I feel there's only really so many ways we can really interpret intuition. It's a very abstract force that guides us. It's like an abstract mind that is already pre-connected to everything. And to me, very commonly, it represents into it, going into it. So you're becoming immersed in something, you're surrendering to something, you're becoming so involved in an inner working or a connection that because you're into it, you can sense what is occurring. It's like and in systems like this becomes that syncopathy, the kind of like empathy of synchronicity. As we meditate these structures around our body, as we breathe the daily energies in, we begin to sense more directly our intuition. So this is going to be the Wavespell that's really going to invite us into that abundance, into making those dreams come true, making those dreams come a reality. And, on the first day, we are identifying that purpose. On day 5, we're taking command. On day 9, we're formalizing action. All right? And then everywhere in between, we go along with those corridors. And we'll get into that energy daily. So for now, let us just do a breath meditation to begin activating this Wavespell inside of our body and begin to align ourselves on the resonant level, bypass the knowledge level directly, and maybe even increase and enhance what knowledge we receive by attuning our body and our holonomic body, our holonomic sheath, to the vibrations at large. Okay, let's begin. Okay, we're going to be going from 1 to 13. So we're going to be starting on the right ankle, ending on the left ankle, and going like, right ankle, right knee, right hip, right wrist, so forth and so on. 7 is the neck and spine, then down the other 6 joints. So we're also going to be starting on the right ring finger, which is the one next to the baby finger. So right ankle, right ring finger, breathe in, begin. Breathing in that night energy, that abundance, that true wisdom, the direct knowledge, as well as breathe in your abundance. Breathe in the actualized potentials. Maybe you already have a dream. Big dreams, small dreams. Just keep breathing while I'm talking. This would be that wave spell to strike it rich, if that is what you were aligned with. Trust that. Also witness the shuddering fear. And oh no, what if I can't hack it? What if I can't do it? Or oh, I feel so separated. Or maybe the energies of like, oh, anger and frustration as something that has been inhibiting you comes up. It's time to face that shadow. It's time to look your Balrog in the eye and say, you shall not pass. In fact, get out of here entirely. This ain't just about passing. You don't exist in me anymore. So just dissolve. Bye-bye. Right? One last breath here. Okay, let's go to the second day. This is the lunar seed. And let's go into our right knee and our right baby finger. In breath. Okay, now let's go to the electric serpent. And let's go into our right hip and our right big toe. In breath, begin. Activating and bonding our connection with that life force energy within us. The sexual energy is truly an electrifying force. Okay, let's go into the self-existing world bridger, which is going to be our right wrist and our right next to big toe. On an in-breath, begin. Investing attention to what arises for us and the potential of that arising being a factor that will occur on the day that we're breathing. All of time, every day is a field of vibration. And so as we sleep and wake, or even if we don't go to sleep and just the next day comes about, it has a different stream of intelligence, a different shape of vibrations, a different series of resonances, a different wave pattern. And so all of those wave patterns are existing on the vibratory planes of existence. And so by aligning ourselves with that, we can begin communicating directly. This is a form of intuition. We're getting into it. We're developing that time sense, the ability to synchronize and align with information and intelligence, a living waveform, a stream of awareness and consciousness that is part and parcel of reality. It's essentially reality's own awareness, which we are not separate from. Continue breathing here for a moment. The world bridger helping us define that connection, bridge those worlds. We've been being trained with our own awareness and our own body, like a miniature microcosm. But we're being initiated into being a cell. Well, you've been the big world, now let's be the small world, and let's be part of the bigger world and receive the bigger messages. Communicate with the bigger body in harmony. Okay, now let's move on to the fifth day, which is the overtone hand. Now let's go into our right elbow and our right middle toe. Breathing inward, begin. that healing. Let us move forth and breathe in the 6th day of our wave spell, which is going to be the rhythmic star. Breathing in through the right shoulder and the right next baby toe. In breath, begin. Let's move over again here and go into our 7th day, which is the resonant moon. The neck and spine and the right baby toe. Also an in-breath. Begin. Okay, going to the 8th day here, which is going to be the galactic dog. Here we have the left shoulder, and here we have the left big thumb, and this is going to be on the out breath. Begin with your out breaths in this way. Okay, then we'll go to our solar monkey, the 9th day. This will be our left elbow and our left pointy finger. Out breath, begin when you're ready. Okay, continuing onward with our spiral journey through the Wavespell to the 10th day, which will be the planetary human. The left wrist and the left middle finger on the out breath. Begin. Okay. To the 11th day, which will be the spectral skywalker, which will be the left hip and the left ring finger, or left next to your baby finger. Breathe outward. Okay, moving to our crystal day, our 12th day, which is the white crystal wizard. Really prophetic day this. We're going to be talking a little bit more about that in 11 days from now. Or 12, I guess you could say. Let us begin. So this is going to be our left knee and our left baby finger. Breathe out here. All right. And the final day, which would be the cosmic eagle, the transcendental vision. So let us go into the left ankle and the left big toe. Out breath, begin. Okay. Turning to our moment in this now, we have just breathed through our 13 joints, the 13 days of this particular Wavespell, the night Wavespell, activating the subtle and major energies which are housed and nested in our bodies, increasing our connection to this intuition that we have as a natural ability of ourselves. I believe I'm going to leave you with that. That feels like a good activation for this 13-day cycle. And we'll see how it progresses and evolves together. Much love to you all. My name is Elia Eternal. And you're watching 1320 Time Stream in Lakesh. I am another you.